You were recording too frequently. Oh, I got a weird error message there. It said you're recording too frequently. Try it again in 30 seconds, and then it just popped up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a epic episode of The Left Wing. I am TJ Whitehead, powers taken, not given. Joined as always by John Cooper Paz of Counterpoint Politics and returning guest Natalie Bensavenga. How have you been, Natalie? It's been quite a while.
Oh my gosh, I know. I think I DM'd you the other day just randomly, and I was like, hey, miss you guys. So
Yeah,
I'm glad that I'm back here to stir up some shit. It'll be good.
it's great. I remember when I first met Natalie, and that was in, I think, Desmond. Did Desmond invite you on the show? Was that yeah? And
Yes.
so I remember. So whenever we had new guests on the show, Desmond would send us links. Say, hey, here's a new person we have on. Check them out and everything. And I don't know if I saw any of your content earlier, but then when you came on the show and we started talking, I was kind of worried. I remember thinking, I think Natalie might be kind of libbed up. And people asked why. And I said, well, you got to understand, we do a lot of interviews and I have a lot of guests on here. And very few of them seem like they have their shit together. Like Natalie seemed professional and she seemed like she actually had like a
This is not a
structure
good
and
endorsement of the left at all, by the way.
no, it's not. Listen. I'm calling balls and strikes here, folks. And I've been to DSA meetings. I've seen far lefties. I've talked to plenty of them. Look, we don't put our best foot forward a lot of times. You actually look like a goddamn professional. It's like, oh, that person's definitely lived up.
Like,
And
this
so
is not gonna happen.
yeah, exactly. So I was kind of surprised how progressive you actually were because we have had some horror stories here on the show where we bring people on like, oh, okay, this person's not what we thought. But yeah, always great to have you on, Natalie.
I think.
Well, listen, I'm sorry. She looks like a professional, and we're not used to that here.
Well, if it makes you guys feel any better, I'm going to be speaking at the Socialism Convention happening in Chicago in September. So that's how far left we're going. We're not even Angela Davis is going to be speaking at that thing. So it's going to be an interesting time all around. I'll have to report back and see how many not so professional looking people are there.
Look, I don't know. I've been to a lot of meetings and stuff, and I look around and I say, yeah, I see why this person's a fan of socialism. I see. It makes sense. Yeah, I got it. I understand why you're. Because listen, it's kind of one of those self-fulfilling prophecies. If you have done well in this system, you're a lot less likely to critique the system. And if you haven't done
That's
as well, you're
fair.
like, okay, yeah. So it kind
Hmm.
of, it's unfortunate that it's true, but it is. It's got to come. Oh, Colby commented, finally found your post.
Yes.
We didn't have a show last week, and
Mm.
we didn't do one on. We John and I do TikToks on Tuesday now. TikTok live, and then we do YouTubes on Thursdays, and so we didn't get to do it last week. So thank you, Colby. Colby's always content. We always appreciate it. John, what
Yes.
you been up to, man?
Not been up to much. I'm glad to have Natalie here. Natalie, just so you know, you are our first guest. You have broken the guest drought because we have not been having guests because
Oh.
TJ and I have real jobs, and
Hmm.
that keeps us busy. And
Hmm.
so you are the first one. Hopefully, we've been saying we want to get guests back on the show again, but hopefully you kick us into gear with that. But I've been
I
doing good.
love that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's been a couple months. Been a couple months. It's like things just
Yeah.
been kind of going crazy. I was out of town this week, actually on Tuesday. I was out of town, and I sent a text. So I stayed at a hotel, and I sent a text to my girlfriend Heather, telling her, "Hey, I just got back to the hotel. I'm free to talk. Whenever you're ready." But I put a little heart at the end of the text message, and I sent the message to John. I sent it to John. And I did. John was such a trooper about it. I didn't notice it for like 20 minutes. John didn't even respond. He didn't say anything. And I was like, oh, sorry, I meant that for Heather. He goes, yeah, I kind of figured that. But
Listen,
yeah.
this isn't the manosphere. You're allowed to have feelings. You're allowed to emote. It's totally fine. It's fine.
It's less the feelings, more the meet me in the hotel room vibes that were maybe
With
crossing
the
the line a
heart.
little bit.
With the heart.
I
You don't have any
literally, I literally
department
texted,
yet,
I
so.
literally texted TJ after he said that. I was like, "Yo, Colby would love this content." So shout
Oh,
out to
that's
Colby,
right.
who's
That's
always
right.
shipping us.
That's right. Yeah,
But no,
Oh
Colby
my
would.
God, you guys. Too
Natalie, you
funny.
brought up something there with the socialism convention. That's
Yeah.
just jump straight into some
Let's
political
do it.
discussion. This is the left wing Q&A, so if anyone has questions for us to answer, definitely let us know. But I have been wondering recently. We've talked about this on this show, kind of as a recurring topic, and I feel like
Yeah.
the tides are changing on it a little bit. You're going to the Socialist Convention.
Mm-hmm.
So DSA is winning more elections within the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
Are we finally at a point where socialism as an ideology can become truly marketable as a mainstream ideology? Has it lost its scariness, and can it actually be a positive moniker for a politician to have nowadays?
That's a great question. And I think TJ kind of answered it by accident, because when you're not doing great, certain ideologies seem to be attractive, right? And I think what we've seen is the end stage capitalist hellscape that we're all caught up in and have been caught up in isn't really serving many of us anymore. It hasn't for a really long time. The people that are having to use GoFundMe to try to get health care, the fact that people can't afford rent, the fact that we're trying to decide between putting food on the table or buying insulin for our child that needs it. I mean, these are real life consequences that happen when you allow a billionaire class and the corporatists to take over your government and redirect all the funds to endless war and tax cuts for the uber rich. So for me, this was an inevitable conclusion. Unfortunately, the problem that I see is in between democracy in this capitalist system and more of a socialistic system is fascism, which seems to be cropping up on the other side of this. So I think what we're going to have right now, unfortunately, is a tug of war, and disinformation is going to be at the center of that, being fueled by AI. So when I think of where we're heading, I see Mamdani and the like being the new direction of young people of the working class. But when I see what's actually transpiring on the right, they're hardening into this sort of fascist mindset openly at this point in reaction to the idea of having to share, which is wild.
TJ, do you think you mentioned socialism being, attractive to people who aren't doing too well? I also feel like it's attractive to people who have done well, like without having to try that hard. I feel like that's where me and TJ come into things. We talk about a lot how, a basic decent upbringing and charisma and not looking like a piece of shit, you can skate on that and do pretty damn well if you are kind of just born into lucky circumstances, especially those also with, parents who are able to provide them with things that gave them a leg up. Like I know my parents were able to provide me with a college education, and I was able to go to a good school. And I look at all this, I'm like, shit. I mean, I work hard, but I didn't fucking earn this shit. And I know people who work way harder than me. And I know that's one of the reasons socialism appeals to me, even though I'm not someone who necessarily would fall into the bucket of who isn't doing well. But I do fall in the bucket of, damn, if I wasn't just lucky, I wouldn't be doing well. And I recognize the need for safety nets and community safety to prevent that from happening to other people. TJ, same question to you. Do you feel like socialism can become a marketable ideology? Maybe not right now. I don't think we're quite there, but it feels like the tides are turning.
I think it will. I think the number one reason is education. I don't know if you guys have heard this new talking point that Republicans are using lately, where they say that the person who's most likely to adopt socialist rhetoric and accept socialist ideology is someone with a postgraduate or a graduate degree, I think, who is making between $30,000 and $50,000 a year. Like someone who has a lot of education, but they're underemployed. And I saw the chart on that, and it's like 70% of those people say that they like socialism. And so they're talking for Republicans. You're going to hear it a lot these days. You're going to hear a lot of Republicans saying that, well, these are people that are just bitter. Trump called them people who are highly educated but not doing very well. In other words, they're losers. But if you look at the chart, it's like 70% of the people fit that, who are like graduate degrees, making less than $50,000 a year. But then as you go up the people who make more and more money, even to the people who make more than 250K a year, it's still like 65%. It's barely different. There's no difference at all. Like the one constant that you can tell, I wish Mark was here because I remember Mark was denying this, where he said, the more educated you get, the less conservative you become. It's across the board. It's always like that. So if we can become more educated, more people will adopt these policies, and general life experience is going to push people in that direction too. I think these days, John, like you were saying, it's not. I don't think we're there quite yet. I think that a lot of people on the left that we kind of think there are more of us than there actually are. That you start talking to regular everyday people and you lose them real quick. And I try so hard to not sound like an elitist prick. I try so hard. And to say that, oh, the populace is just stupid. And I try to find a nicer way to say that they're stupid. But, people are going to get lost on this. And so I think things are going to have to get a lot worse before they get better. And Trump is doing everything he can to help out with that, with, this Iran war thing, which we'll get into a little bit. But the fascism thing that Natalie mentioned is the boogeyman on this, because that's a lot easier to slip into. That like conservatism offers very simple, very easy solutions with, bumper stickers and black and white thinking. So it is possible, I think, in the near future, but I don't think it's going to guarantee lock. I think that it's going to be a hard fight.
And it's funny. I was going to say, Colby mentioned, did you see AOC get asked this today, which is why you're asking the question. Wasn't the specific reason I was asking the question, although it's been kind of a question. More so it's been a question in the air. Ever since the New York DSA victories with Abdullah Saeed's race being very contentious with Stevens, we're seeing this trend a lot more and more. And we're seeing the moderates, the centrists, really kicking back. And it has been a real just thorn in my side. Like I know not to get too upset about what centrist Democrats do, because that's just going to lead to a very unpleasant life for me. But like to watch so many of them just square up and be like, we need to kick the DSA out of our party after having been yelled at for like a whole fucking year before the 2024 election that we need to vote blue no matter who, by these very same people. It just makes me feel like shit. Like it makes me feel like utter dog shit as a person, as an individual person, to be told, hey, when it's us, we own your vote. If you don't vote for us, you're helping Trump win. But when it's you, fuck you. We don't want you in our party anymore. It's the reason that it's the most unpopular party in our lifetimes, at least partially the reason. You can apply that to many different groups of people besides us. But I feel like just that do as we say and we won't give a shit is the reason the Democratic Party is failing in the first place. What are your thoughts on that, Natalie?
Yeah, I mean, I think the truth is they should kick them out of the party, because they're not the people that are saying get out Democratic Socialists are not Democrats. They're Republicans. Like, we've moved so far right that our Democratic Party is actually like the Republican Party from the 80s and the 90s in some ways, in a lot of big ways. So the truth of it is, it's like, yeah, we do need a new party, a new Democratic Party, which actually looks very similar to the party of FDR at the beginning of the New Deal. And when the corporate tax rate was 80% plus. So it's interesting to me how when you flip that conversation on its head, I don't consider myself a real Democrat at this point, right? In the established sense of the word, because I don't identify with the corporate overlords that, for whatever reason, the Democrats are hell-bent on serving, right? So I think we need to remove that feeling that you have of feeling like shit, because the reason you feel like shit is because you're not a Republican. So and the Republicans aren't Republicans, they're fascists. So the reality is, we've just got to come up with new labels and new ways of looking at this. And TJ, to speak to your point earlier when you were talking about, we still aren't there with people with socialism. I don't agree. I think people aren't okay with the word. But when you say to them, everyone should pay into a universal, system for healthcare, most people agree with that. That's a socialistic concept. So I think people are actually more on board with the concepts than they are with the language. And because we also have this disinformation machine, which I'm going to talk ad nauseum probably about tonight, because it's interwoven with everything that's happening right now, I think the Democrats, the established Democrats are running scared. And that's why they're pushing back so hard, because that's how interested people in this party actually are towards these ideas. So I actually think there are more people that are engaging with socialism, but they don't have the language yet to call it that because it's been so vilified for 50 plus years.
I wish I could buy that, Natalie. I really do. I really do. Because here's the where I get hung up on it is that we see all these polls and all this data saying that people support universal health care, but when it's time to vote for it, it doesn't happen. It just like not just it's not just like the politicians, of course, but politicians will come right out and say, no, we're against that. We don't like it. Running against someone who says they're for it. Person who's for it always loses, or loses more often than they win. And I've seen and I talk to people and they say this, but when it's time to actually put power to this and put it on the bowl, it doesn't make it out of the primary a lot of times. So I'm stuck wondering, wow, I guess we got a lot more work ahead of us than I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but I also think we're underestimating how ill-educated our electorate actually is, and how low voter turnout actually is when it comes to these things, and how impossible they're trying to make it to vote. So I hear you. I don't fully agree, though. I still think when you talk to people, they're on board, but I don't even think people oftentimes know when their local elections are, TJ. And if they do, they don't have time off from work, or they're not educated enough on these issues to understand the impacts that are being made in their own communities by people that they don't agree with. But what I do think is happening is what we're seeing with these AI data centers is so many people coming out in opposition against having something like this in their backyards. And perhaps the surveillance state is actually enforcing people to start engaging with their civic system in a way that we haven't seen for generations. And maybe that will spur sort of a chain reaction. Guys, I have to remain optimistic, or you're going to be like peeling me off the floor in the fetal position, okay? Just to be clear.
John, so Natalie, we should have warned you. Over the last couple of months, John and I have been kind of black-pilled, I think. I forgot, John. I forgot to warn people about this.
I've like floated in like a little angel, and I'm like, guys, we can still turn the around. And you're both like, get out.
We've really tried. I mean, we tried to keep optimistic face, but man, you can only just see so many losses so many times, which, listen, it shouldn't happen, because socialists are losers. Like, socialists are centuries long losers, right? It's like any small victory, we're like, yeah, that's great. But when you said, Natalie, is that maybe we're underestimating the information level of the average voter, or the political engagement of the average voter, or the civic knowledge. No, we're not. That factors in here. It's like we're perfectly estimating it. It's nothing there. It's not there at all.
No, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That we need to increase that level of education. But that's what the right is really pushing back on, right? With this disinformation war. I hear you on that. Totally hear you on that.
So I think that the best case for this, I don't think, Natalie, I don't think you're making it. I really, if you're telling me to trust in the American people to become more educated and more involved in civic processes, I'm going to stop you right there and say it's not going to happen. But the optimistic case,
we had two data centers that are no longer happening in Berks County and in Schuylkill County because of the people pushing back, John. So let's not discount the power of education and pushing back on these fascists. I'm not going to let you do that.
It's not that it's impossible, right? It's right. That I agree that can happen, in pockets, but we need it to happen on a large mass movement scale to be successful. What we're talking about here, and I just don't think that is how elections are won on a national level. I really don't think elections are won by policy. I don't think they are won even by campaign infrastructure. I think Donald Trump has fucking demonstrated that to us.
Totally.
They're won on narrative. And DJ and I talk about this a lot of it's the narrative. And the silver lining case, the optimistic case for socialism I would make is we're winning the narrative right now. The strongest. The teachers socialists are centuries long losers. Correct. And the argument that the moderate liberals would always be able to make very effectively to the mass audiences. You can trust us. We're the adults in the room.
Yeah.
We can win. Don't let those guys take control. They're going to lose, and then you're going to have the Republicans. I think the reason that we are seeing so much momentum right now is, well, one, the economic factors that you alluded to earlier, but just as importantly, we just had the centrist Democrats lose in an epic, very public, very horrific. We're living through the consequences of the people saying, trust us, we're the adults in the room, completely shitting the bed. And the most prominent fucking politician on our side of the aisle in the country right now is the most likable motherfucker in the world, and he's a socialist. Even fucking Donald, he fucking charmed Donald Trump into liking him and going gay for him, basically. Like that is the person currently waving the banner of our narrative. And I really don't think we can discount just how vitally important that is for the success of the movement in general.
I agree. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw who's running in Texas for this. I can't think of the name of the district on. I'm sorry, but his name's Brandon Herrera, and I guess he's a gun enthusiast. He's a YouTuber. He's part of the Manosphere. He also owns like an arms or weapons company, and he was speaking out today against gun control. And was saying that Shannon Watts, who founded, Moms Demand Action or Moms, that the gun control group, that he doesn't care about what mothers think because they're the ones that allowed these cum trophies to exist. So he was referring to children as cum trophies. And Mike Johnson is fundraising for this guy. And so I private messaged Shannon Watts and I said, what is this about? Does this guy actually have a chance to win? And she said, oh, he'll win. It's Texas. It's like a 7-point district where Trump is. So this is what's on the other side. And back to TJ's point, is what is so exhausting about what is going on the left, because we can't get our shit together to bury this guy that's saying this kind of stuff. It's wild to me. And to your point, it's about narrative. It's just about narrative. They like that, I guess.
They do. Yeah. I do. This is ever since I'm not used to being wrong. I am just like, it's so rare that
your
it's
girlfriend.
Oh, she'd agree with you. She would agree with you. She would agree with you. She hates it. She fucking hates it how right I am all the time. But no, it's just
going on here. Yes.
Yeah, and so, but I was so sure. Trump was going to lose in November. I wasn't more sure about anything. I said there is no. I had the whole thing played out in my mind that 2016 was just this fluke. That Hillary Clinton was the candidate with like 30 years of political baggage. People were, they're like, oh, this is just another member of Obama's administration. Trump comes along. He's entertaining. He's funny. He's new. And he's playing into like all the right tropes better than any other conservative out there. He sounds like a talk radio host. He was perfect to galvanize them. Barely squeaks by a victory while losing the popular vote. There's no way we're going to have that confluence of crazy events again after everything we've seen, after, 34 indictments, after 81 indictments and 34 convictions or whatever it was, after the rape conviction, after January 6th. There's no fucking chance that the American people would vote this guy into office, and they did it. They did it. They not only did they do it, but they did it by giving him the first Republican in like 20 years to win the popular vote. And ever since then, I've been thinking, why would I trust the American voter after this? Why? They've given me no reason to trust them after this. And I have no choice but to do so. But it does make it difficult to be optimistic about things working in the system. And like John said, we've actually been saying this since before Trump's election, that I hate how, there's like an expression that elections are just popularity contests. That's exactly what they are. If you can seem cooler, if you can seem more interesting than your opponent, what you say doesn't matter as much as it should. So I'm a big fan of educating people and telling them the right way, or the way I believe, politics or economics should work or whatever. But when it comes down to just Riz, it's like, well, we might be on top now with Mamdani, but all they need is an equally cool right winger who's just going to implement something worse. And it's scary. It's scary out there. I'm looking for victories here, but they're few and far between, unfortunately.
I hear all that. I just think that there is still a lot of work to be done. The Republicans spent 50 years laying this groundwork. I know we're talking about it in this moment, TJ, because it's now like everything's crashing on us like a tsunami. But this didn't happen overnight. And any victories that the Democrats are going to have, or another left party in the future, whatever that looks like, the foundation needs to be laid now. And I think that's why maybe you guys feel this much frustration over what is going on within the party, because this is all noise when actually we all need to be like joining together on the left and saying, hey, we don't need to agree on everything, but we do agree that this sucks, what's happening over here. And we need to be putting our stuff in motion and putting actual money behind it and actual infrastructure. And we're not doing that because the left has never been good at that. It's like herding cats over here. So I think that's another obstacle, is the patience of recognizing that this isn't going to be fixed overnight, just like the problem didn't arise overnight.
And there's a little bit of optimism. Go ahead, TJ.
No, go ahead, John. Go ahead. No, please.
I was going to say there's a little bit of optimism in that too, in that we all like this wave, the DSA wave, whatever we want to call this current political movement. It didn't happen overnight either. Like, it's happening now.
Right.
But this started, I mean, you could argue it started back with Obama. To a certain extent, with his campaign and promising change and being for universal health care and all of these reforms. Didn't happen with him. we live here now. Mm-hmm. But then Bernie kind of took that mantle in 2016 and galvanized that same sort of energy, not to the level that Obama did, but really brought a lot of people into the fold. And we've seen kind of through these iterations, these ideas becoming more and more popular, more and more people jumping onto them. And I think that we are seeing a combination of right place, right time, with Donald Trump just obliterating the country, becoming more and more and more unpopular. The Democrats, the moderate Democrats that exist, failing to do anything to stop him, and people just being fucking pissed and wanting change. And Kyle brought up a point that I think speaks to several things that we've mentioned on this show. So he said, a close friend I know voted for Trump in 2024. And I asked about the logic. Didn't make sense. They said, I wanted change. And they thought Biden was president in 2020. So that speaks to the level of misinformation among the American voting base. But it also speaks to the whole narrative thing. People fucking want change. Like, people want change so badly. And the Democratic establishment stands for nothing will fundamentally change. And that's just, it will eat itself alive. It will not 100%. Survive. And people fucking hate Trump too. Like we've been saying this like a while now, but like genuinely, a lot of people who'd have never spoken ill of Trump have completely left the bandwagon.
Yes.
With the Iran war, the tariffs, and we'll get to some of that later. But there is a space, a vacuum open to suck up the narrative right now. Unfortunately, Mamdani was not born here, and he would be perfect for it. But someone's going to take that position, and it's going to be a fascist or a socialist, guys. Like, it's going to be one or the other. A better fascist than Trump, better being, better at being a fascist, not better for humanity, or that it's going to be I really don't see anyone in the center of either party winning control over it in the next 5 years here. TJ, you're giving me doubt. I'm seeing doubt on your face.
What's that? No, yeah. No, there's just some things that I probably would say like backstage and not on the internet that I have thoughts on this. I may want to save those for later. But
I want to be on that group text.
Yeah, holy shit. No, but Colby or Kyle, whichever one, I mix them up all the time, said that they thought Biden was president in 2020. This is what I'm talking about here, man. This is what I'm talking about. Like, we're trying to talk about specific policies, like, oh, well, how high should we raise, specific levels of marginal tax rates? Let's talk about the effectiveness of quantitative easing or something. These motherfuckers don't know who the president is, okay? It's just, how are we supposed to how are we supposed to have like legitimate conversation with these folks? But John, you kind of did exactly what I was going to do, is that pivot this right to Trump, that complain as I do about how bad things are and how Republicans are just very openly embracing the identity of comic book villains, that Trump is pushing it so far that it's hurting the Republicans. And look, credit to my boy Donnie. Thanks a lot. You're doing a lot. We had 4 service members die over the weekend. We're up to 18 dead service members so far in the Iran war. And have you guys seen Trump tweeting about this? About how this is no big deal, that we've only lost 18. We lost thousands in Korea, thousands in Vietnam. And all right, that's a good strategy right there. Just brag about other wars that lasted forever and compare that to what we have right now. It's no big deal that your kids are dead. But I wonder, Natalie, John and I discussed this a little bit on Tuesday. I want to get your opinion on this.
Sure.
This war is not stopping anytime soon. I'm officially declaring this a forever war, because there's no exit strategy for Trump other than what he tried to do a couple weeks ago, which was a face-saving memorandum of understanding saying, all right, let's just kick this ball down the road here and try to quietly exit out of this and not admit that we got our asses kicked by the Iranian military. But he couldn't do it. We're right back into it. Missiles are flying every night. Every other day, he says that this war is over. Iran has been militarily depleted. They have nothing left. And then they attack us the next night. They're begging for a deal, but we don't go anywhere. More Americans are going to die. The Iranians are lighting up air defense units. The units that are supposed to shoot down missiles, they're blowing them up. They're blowing up barracks in Kuwait. We're going to have more deaths rolling in. What point do you think the American people are going to, well, the American people have already turned on it, but the Republicans themselves, like, at what point do you think that they're going to say, okay, this is enough, and revolt against him?
I don't think they will. I think, unfortunately, I mean, we've seen, at least when we're talking about the powers that be, and the Republicans in power in the House and in the Senate in particular. I mean, look what they've just been voting on with this $1.15 trillion spending bill that they're trying to ram through, right? But Hegseth already said we've spent almost $38 billion with a B, on this, adventure in the Middle East, and he wants billions more. And what I find fascinating about it was that Trump declared victory. So what the hell do you guys need this money for? And it is wild to me how easily the Republicans get on board with writing a blank check for us to go bomb other people. But when we say anything around, hey guys, we need health care, or hey guys, we need paid leave, it's like, oh, no, we can't afford that. We can't afford to solve the homeless crisis here. We can't afford to do this. We can't have infrastructure, but we can always, find money for bombs. And I find it fascinating because I know things are actually turning in a way that I've not experienced personally, TJ, in an anecdotal sense, because I used to only get, when military men, guys in the military would DM me, and it was almost always to rip me to shreds about something that I said that was anti-Trump or anti-gun or whatever. Now I'm having multiple conversations a day with guys in the military that are speaking about how disillusioned they are with what is going on. And I think when you start losing the servicemen and the veterans and people that have been injured, that can't seem to get behind it. I know that's like such a small little sliver anecdotally, but I do find that really interesting, that this sort of war without end energy, it's just not hitting. And this is one of those things where I don't know if this will change until there is a regime change, because the Republicans have shown over and over again that they roll over and show Trump their tummy no matter what. It's pathetic and embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing.
It is. It is. That's a good. Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
I was going to say, the thing is, they will continue to roll over until there is some change in the status quo.
Right.
And Trump could, if he was like a tactful statesman, kind of just play this out how it's going for the next couple years until he's out of office, and not really turn that lever. But we know Trump isn't going to do that. And genuinely, there really only seems to be a couple pathways forward. One, Trump surrenders. We know that's not going to happen. Two, we have a ground invasion of Iran, and that, I think, would be enough to move the needle. I think if we actually had a ground invasion and Americans started dying in the thousands and being shipped off to war,
I hope that would be enough.
There would be enough of a revolt in the Republican Party to at least stop the war. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to get rid of Trump or anything, but we only need a couple votes to pass a war powers resolution, and that would be enough to do it, I imagine. Or C, he escalates without putting boots on the ground, which means attacking, devastating civilian infrastructure in Iran, which the Pentagon is not ruling out right now. And if that happens, Iran will respond by taking out the water desalination centers in Saudi Arabia, in Kuwait, in all of these Gulf countries, which will create a massive humanitarian crisis with millions of people needing to be evacuated, because without the desalination centers, they can't get water. And so that would also probably move the needle and get people very pissed and get those couple votes that are needed to at least pass a war powers resolution. All of them go to bad places. There's only bad ways out unless Trump surrenders, which he isn't going to do. So I do think things need to get worse before they get better. But I can't imagine Republicans would continue to bankroll this if it got really, really bad to the point where Americans are putting boots on the ground. I could be wrong about that.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd like to think you're right, but I don't think they care that much about people having access to anything, because U.S. aid was chopped like one of the first things, and all that was a program that supported humanitarian efforts. I mean, I don't know anymore what the Republicans are basing their loyalty on with Trump, other than he must have something on them. I don't know.
I mean, my guess for Republicans. So I've had a theory for a long time that for over a decade now, the Republican Party, as it's established, that we all know, the Republican politicians, Republican media, Republican intelligentsia, to the extent that that's a real thing, they actually hate Donald Trump. They can't stand. They know how dumb he is. They know that he's a moron. They know that he's a bully and a tyrant and everything. They can't stand the guy. But unfortunately, the Republican base worships him and they love him. So Republicans who speak out against Trump lose their jobs. That's that's about as good of correlation as you can find. That if you're anti-Trump, you are risking your next primary. You're now, the general election, that might not be a big deal, but you're not going to get to the general because Trump is going to come after you. So I think that's what they're afraid of. I mean, Thomas Massie, who has spent his entire career as a regular ass conservative, just a terrible human being up and down. But he said, yeah, I'm not for this support for Israel, and I think maybe we should release the Epstein files, folks. Gone. Immediately gone. Years and years of service to their ideology went out the fucking window the second he went against Donald Trump. So yeah, I think that he doesn't need blackmail on these people or anything. He already has their careers in the palm of his hand. I'm really curious with the dead soldier thing. Natalie, that's really interesting that you said that you had a lot of people in the military who are against this and everything. So the people who died this weekend were 14 series soldiers. That's the kind of series I was. And I remember seeing all these soldiers, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a 14 Hotel, there's a 14 Echo. It's like, oh yeah. And a lot of the locations I had been in, and they're even having soldiers die in Kuwait. I can't remember the last time we had a soldier die in Kuwait from combat. It must have been 30 years since we've had a soldier die in combat in Kuwait or something. Kuwait, it's a deployment, but it's a vacation. It's a joke deployment when you go to Kuwait or something like that. I remember I was in Kuwait for 6 weeks, and it was when I couldn't believe that I was in the Middle East and I could have bacon, because you can't have bacon, you know, if they're in the Middle East, and where you have third country nationals come in, they can cook it for you. They had a swimming pool, they had a gym, they had a movie theater, like solid structures and not just tents. It was incredible. It was the most chill, relaxed place ever. And it's getting bombed now. Like the barracks in Kuwait. I saw a picture, like the barracks have been blown up. I'm sure there's a lot more deaths coming from that. So when this starts rolling in, and that's why soldiers, I think, for the most part, like, what are we doing here? These aren't people who, they didn't die in Iran, right? They just died in a station that was close to Iran somewhere. Anyone could get lit up from that. So I think that the military, like, I feel actually really badly for people in the military right now, because what the fuck are we doing? Even back in the global war on terror, there was at least an objective where they said, okay, this is what we're going for here. What's our objective here in Iran? Trump has never made that clear. It says we need to stop Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. Well, they bombed the nuclear sites. Now they're blocking the Strait of Hormuz. Now the goal has changed to stop them from blocking the Strait of Hormuz. So we're going to have our own blockade. It's all over the place. It's nonsense. I don't know how his political will for this is going to continue, but I think Natalie's right. I think that the Republicans are going to keep supporting this no matter what, and they're going to go all the way to their graves with this in November, John.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, just total non sequitur here. Not total.
Love those.
But Colby commented earlier, we should give Iran a large wooden horse as an apology to end the war. And I just have to say, it's very ironic that the Persians are pulling a battle of Thermopylae on us and just fighting us in a narrow strait where they can beat out our larger numbers and military forces. They learned that in a couple thousand years later.
300? 300. Any more ancient battles people want to bring up anytime for this, where we're going to go into this and find out a little bit more? John whipped up the Battle of Thermopylae with the Persians and the Spartans. That's good stuff. No, that would have been really good to transition to the woke stuff with.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
But I wanted to go to fuck it, we'll do it. Okay, so all right, when I'm sure you guys saw that when Christopher Nolan announced that he was doing The Odyssey, that they released some of the casting decisions. And the one that the chuds on the right were the most upset about was that Lupita Nyong'o was playing Helen of Troy. And Lupita Nyong'o is black. And they said, well, Helen of Troy wouldn't have been black. Why are they having Lupita Nyong'o playing her? And then it just got worse from there. Then they found out that Elliot Page was in the movie too. And for some reason, they thought that Elliot Page would be playing Achilles. And Elliot Page did not play Achilles. And so I am the only one on this panel who has seen The Odyssey. I'm the only cool kid. But I will say that if you haven't seen it, the entire cast is multiracial. Like there are Indian people, Asian people, black people, white people, Hispanic people, like everyone that's peppered all over the place. It's like if you're watching The Odyssey at a community theater, you know. And Elon Musk had this tweet about how Christopher Nolan's dedication to wokeness is going to tank this movie. This is going to be a big flop. Doesn't he know? Go woke, go broke. And this movie is shattering records like no one has ever seen before. This is Christopher Nolan's. It is the largest opening for any Christopher Nolan film. And if you guys aren't familiar with Christopher Nolan, he's done a lot of movies you might have heard of. You know, all 3 Batman movies, the Christian Bale ones, Tenet, The Prestige, Inception, what's the Interstellar, I think. Yeah, it's like, I mean, the guy has a hell of a track record here, and it's his best opening ever. It is the highest opening for any R-rated movie this year, and the 3rd highest R-rated movie of all time. And
really?
It is the 3rd highest R-rated movie opening of all fucking time. It is it is like incredible. The budget for this movie was $250 million. And the marketing was, I think, $125 million. So it cost $375 altogether. In the first 6 days, it made $360 million. It's gonna make $1 billion, this movie. So I don't know, John. Are they right? Is wokeness actually the poison that people think it is? Are you enjoying people like seething and coping with this?
TJ, when they started the backlash, the casting, I was like, yes, please pick this side of the battle. Please plant your flag in the hill of, Oppenheimer, not the Oppenheimer guy who just made $1 billion on a movie about a fucking scientist. He's going to fail in his movie about the most famous story, or one of the most famous stories ever told in human history. Yeah, like that, I'm sure that's going to fail, guys. Please keep fighting this losing battle. And of course they're losing this battle because it's a dumb fucking battle. Like it's not just dumb. Like it's obviously dumb to bet against this movie. It was always going to make $1 billion. It was very unlikely that it would bomb. But it's hypocritical, and we know they're hypocrites. But it is insane that anyone gives a shit about, like, oh, the historical accuracy of this or this. That's never applied consistently, ever at all. There are they fucking love 300. Every single guy that is like, oh, the historical accuracy, they fucking love the oiled up fucking homoerotic slow motion fight scenes of 300.
As do I, John. As do I,
John.
But they have a problem with this movie because there's a black woman who is also fucking one of the most beautiful black women of all time, and they're like, nah, she's not beautiful enough. Like, are you gay, bro? You also want to make yourself sound gay and racist? Like, I don't mind the gay thing, but I know you do. It's just dumb all the way down. And just to be clear, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a myth. It's a fucking myth, guys. There's gods. You can be historic. You can go the fucking Eggers route and make incredibly great art with period accurate everything. But guess what? Nobody fucking watches Eggers movies. The box office for those movies is nothing. Eggers is never making $1 billion. Chris Nolan is, because he knows what people want. And people want the best. This is always what they fucking say, right? We don't want a person pigeonholed into a role or a job because of their race or their gender or their whatever. We want the best person for the job. Well, guess what? That means a fucking race-blind casting. You hire the best fucking actor for the job, and they fucking do it. And it goes and makes $1 billion. Hamilton did the same thing. Was the highest fucking grossing musical of our lifetimes. It works. This shit works. To think it doesn't work because you're racist is kind of insane. And they were so confident that it was going to bomb, and they were so spectacularly wrong.
Yeah, wait until they find out that Matt Damon's body double was a woman that he said had the best arms he's ever seen. Like their minds, their little tiny pea brain minds are just going to explode. You know, it's so entertaining to me to see their non-logic fall apart every time. Yeah. And it's true, Lupita. I mean, I'm sure she was prepared for what was going to come because she is a black woman in this industry. But I mean, come on, who wouldn't go to war for her? Are you kidding me? It's insane to think like that she couldn't get some guys to be like, yeah, I'll kick some ass for you. Like, are you kidding? Of course. It's a beautiful woman. And The Odyssey is a classic, but classics are meant to be reinterpreted, and it's a fictional novel. And actually, if you really want to get into it, Helen of Troy is very vaguely described. So even if you want to get very accurate around a fictional film or fictional book, excuse me, there's not that much to go off of other than she was a stunner, you know? So it's so silly that they get caught up in this stuff, because when you think of the origins of the word woke, it really just means being socially aware that other people exist around you. I mean, that's all it means. And when you think of it at its core, what Trumpism is about, it's just this, you know, angry tantrum going me, 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 me. And people aren't down for that. And culturally, we may not be there yet, TJ, politically, but culturally, we're there. You know, we want to see ourselves and each other reflected in our art, just like any other era of history. And so Nolan was smart to play into that idea with this film. I have not yet seen it. I have heard that the female characters, he can't write women for shit. So I heard that they're not much more than kind of glorified props in this movie, which seems to be a shame because there's some great actresses in it. But I'll have to report back on that because I haven't watched it yet myself. That's just what I've been reading.
They're kind of glorified props in the original narrative too.
In the story too. Yeah.
You can expand on that.
Incredible. These are incredible characters though that they could have really dug into and played with. I mean, come on. That was laziness on his part.
I think that the character that I actually all right, so without spoilers on, I hate to spoil it's the Odyssey, but the fuck. The character that I not identified the most with, but the character that I felt the most connection to was Penelope. Anne Hathaway did an amazing job as Penelope. I think she did better than anyone else in the film. But I mean, yeah. So I will say that there. But yeah, Nolan is not great with writing female characters. That's very true. Yeah, it's like when it comes to this, like this is like conservatives can't figure out. This is why it's so hard for conservatives to be good at comedy. This is why it's so difficult because, like, look at conservative comedy now, like with the Joe Rogan sphere, what they've created.
Yeah.
Watch 5 minutes of any Joe Rogan style comedy or Joe Rogan related comedian. It's just the same 3 jokes. It's the same thing of like, oh, let's talk about trans people. Let's talk about how we can't say the N-word anymore. It's the same shit. It's just grieving because the problem when I take comedy very fucking seriously. I probably take it way too seriously, but you have to realize that you have to aim for what's funny first, and then the preaching comes second. And conservatives cannot do that. They can't. They have to go to the preaching first. And it's not laughter they're after. It's clapter. If you ever, I think we played a clip here with Roseanne Barr or something like a year ago on the show where she's just talking about how she's complaining about vaccine mandates and everything. And then it's just people clapping and cheering saying, yeah, but they're not actually laughing at any jokes because nothing's really fucking funny. What I do find funny, though, is one of the first reviews of the Odyssey I ever saw before I went and saw the movie myself came from Ben Shapiro. Did you guys see Ben Shapiro's review on the Odyssey by any chance?
I mean, I didn't
what
watch
he said
the
about
review,
it?
but I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. This I could not believe it when I pulled this up, but Ben Shapiro saw it, and he stated that I wanted to hold my opinion on the Odyssey until I'd seen it. I know, weird. So here it is. It is a grand spectacle with a fascinating moral core. It's extraordinary. Also, the actor shouldn't have said dad, and the casting of Elliot Page is a pebble in the shoe. Irritating and bothersome and unnecessary. All my thoughts are here, including my Zendaya Lupita Nyong'o takes. Check it out. All right. That was incredible to me because it's like Ben Shapiro came away and the first thing he said was, this movie was great. It was amazing. And he wanted to hate it. He wanted to hate it so bad. But even he was like, look, folks, I gotta admit it's good. And of course, for his job, that's what he has to do. He had to throw in there that I thought it was kind of dumb they put Elliot Page in there. Not even a strong condemnation. It was kind of weak. It's like, yeah, I could have done without Elliot Page in that role. Who's in the movie like 5 minutes, I might add. Elliot Page. And Elliot Page plays like a really young soldier. Like Elliot Page, like it fits. Like, yeah, if Elliot Page had played Achilles, that would have been weird. That was okay. Elliot Page does not fit Achilles. Elliot Page playing like a 19-year-old boy, like, yeah. Actually, that's not weird at all. That kind of fits really, really well. So he wanted to hate it, and even he couldn't do it, and he is getting flamed online for it. I always go to Ben Shapiro's Twitter and look at this. Like, people are yelling at him for not hating it enough. But he's like, listen, I'm telling you, this is not bad. And he appreciated the interpretation of the film. You guys are going to see it, but interpretation was not... It wasn't told from a perspective like you would expect, like a Greek general to tell this story. And of course it isn't, because that's not our sensibilities. Like, if they actually did a movie of the Odyssey as it was written, those characters would horrify you. Like, I mean, people with 3,000-year-old human morality, they would be repulsive to you. So it's all about Odysseus and looking at his actions and evaluating them and thinking, did I make the moral choice or not? Stuff that you don't really find in the original story. And that's what Ben Shapiro liked about it. He liked the philosophical aspects of it. But Ben Shapiro, as much as I despise him, is one of the brighter right-wingers, so he just kind of sees a little bit deeper into that. Have you seen any reviews that have surprised you? Natalie, you mentioned that you had soldiers who were turning on Trump here. Have you seen any right-wingers? I was like, oh, wow, they had a decent take on this. Not Elon Musk. I know that one.
Not Elon Musk, but I was surprised at how good of a review it was getting, because I actually, John, I wasn't convinced the movie was going to do well. Not because that it was woke, but just because I'm like, are people going to want to see this movie? And I think what saved it exactly was the thing that we were talking about, was sort of this multicultural lens of kind of trying to bring it to life in this moment. So I was surprised. Some of the reviews that I saw initially, I was like, oh, I guess I should go and see this, because I wasn't really sold on going myself. I just thought, we'll see. I didn't love Oppenheimer, so I just thought, okay, we'll see how this one transpires, because I thought it was really boring. But I am intrigued now to maybe check out The Odyssey, especially TJ, after hearing your enthusiasm around it. So now I want to see it.
Oh, I don't know if you heard my enthusiasm. I don't think the movie is nearly as good as everybody else does. I don't. I think
you had mentioned that online. That's why I was sort of curious as to like where your head was at with it.
I gave the movie a 7 out of 10. It is
bad.
No, it's not bad, but I went in after everything I heard thinking this is going to be one of the greatest things I've ever seen, and it was okay. It was okay. I thought it was it's not what I expected from Christopher Nolan. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Because I'll save you guys the trouble, because when I heard that Christopher Nolan was making The Odyssey, the first thing I thought was, well, Christopher Nolan is known for mystery and suspense and intrigue and big aha moments. How I couldn't wait to see how he was going to do this in a story as old and as well known as The Odyssey. He doesn't try. Doesn't even try. There's like no, what you know about The Odyssey, you're going to see. You're going to see everything there. There's very little twists and turns on this. And I was distracted by the number of big name actors in this movie. It was hard to immerse myself in ancient Greece thousands of years ago. And the first person you see is Travis Scott. And he doesn't look like a bard from 3,000 years ago. He looks like Travis Scott, okay? Like, I was like, what the fuck? He's like banging on the staff. He's like, a war, a man, a trick. And I was like, what is Travis Scott talking to me for? This giant ass screen. It's weird. It was like one of my because Ben Shapiro mentioned in there that he didn't like that character said dad. Like when Telemachus is talking about Odysseus, he refers to him as his dad and not his father. I agree with Ben Shapiro there. I think the speech you guys will see it. The speech they use in the movie was super colloquial. It didn't sound old. It sounded super modern, which works great for a Spider-Man film, right? That's what I want. But when I'm watching something that, has that much distance and is like essentially a different planet, of the world 3,000 years ago, I'd like a little distance in how we speak. I just, people saying, okay, it's like, oh, that's weird. That doesn't seem like it belongs there. So I agree with Ben Shapiro there that the way they spoke should have been a little bit different. But the actors, it was hard for me to separate. Like, I saw Travis Scott. I saw Matt Damon. I saw Tom Holland. I saw John Leguizamo. I couldn't help but who I was looking at and not breaking. And that could have been me. You guys might have a different opinion on this, but I wouldn't be in my top 5 Christopher Nolan films. But technically and the cinematography, incredible. Guys, watch the movie just for the Cyclops. Okay, just for the Cyclops scene. There's a scene, I don't know if you guys have heard about it yet, but there's like a sound that happens in the Cyclops scene. One of the best experiences I've ever had in a movie theater. And it was worth the price of admission just for that.
Wow.
Are you excited, John?
I'm very excited to see it. Chris Nolan, I think, is a fantastic director. The reason I was so confident, Nolan better than probably any director ever. You could argue maybe only Spielberg would also get this moniker, is he understands how to make high art, critically acclaimed films for the masses. I think The Dark Knight is a great example of that. Movie is so fucking good. It is so good on so many levels, and it also is a fucking superhero movie meant for mass audiences. And Christopher Nolan knows how to thread that needle, where he's making these prestige films that everybody wants to see. Even Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer being successful actually blew me away. Like, I was not, pardon the pun, I was
thinking that too.
I was not expecting people to not only go see it en masse, but then love it. Like it made $1 billion, and people besides Natalie, that I would never expect to have liked a biopic about Oppenheimer. Where like my wife really liked it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting you to hate this movie, and she fucking loved it. And Nolan's got the juice, and he understands how to translate movies to mass audiences, which is why I expect to not be upset about the modern language. In fact, I would much prefer that to the standard that has been set for my life of if it's an old time setting, they speak with a British accent. Like that's been the go-to for most movies and shows in my life, where it's just like, oh, it's an old British accent. Doesn't matter if they're fucking in Japan, they have a British accent for some reason. And
I think it just helps separate you.
You know what I mean? Go ahead, Natalie.
Yeah,
I think it just helps you separate though those spaces of time. It's even like when they set movies in the 40s and the 30s, and they use that very like standard sort of Midwest dialect. You know, it's just creating more of that ambiance of we're somewhere else now. You know,
I like it. I like it. Yeah, maybe it's basic, but like in Breaking Bad, people always laugh that, you know, when they go to Mexico, they use the yellow filter. It's like, all right, it lets you know you're in Mexico. I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Now, you know?
Yes, I enjoy. Because listen, like you guys, listen. Everyone on this panel is, a continent hopper here. You guys have been traveling all over. I know. Whenever you go to a different place, it's always weird to. Well, whenever I go to a different place, it's always weird to me how similar it looks to everywhere else. I remember when I flew into China, like I was like, and we landed, and I was like, huh, it kind of looks like everywhere else I've ever been. It's like, you have to go like deep out to find, oh, this is like old traditional stuff, or oh, that looks different. But yeah, every airport I've been to looks like every airport I've been to. So yeah, I like a little bit of difference there. I got a comment here. So Natalie, there's a running joke on this show. That a joke perpetrated by one human being and one human being only, and that is Colby. And every goddamn show for at least a year now, Colby makes a joke about me being old. And so, he had one here when we were talking about how people spoke in Greece 3,000 years ago, and Colby commented, "How did you speak back then, TJ?" But which, listen, this is classic Colby. I'm not surprised that. What I want to laugh at is the typo that he made a few seconds before that, where he wrote, "How did you speak vag?" And then he hit enter on accident, and he had to write, "How did you speak back then, TJ?" Colby, what the fuck, man? How did you speak vag?
I assumed we were just being trolled by a right winger or something that was just like, you guys are speaking veg or something like that. And I literally didn't even dawn on me that it could be a typo. I just thought, because the feminine is so hated by them. So I just assumed.
Natalie, you mentioning that. I say, so for a long time, I've said that there are plenty of content creators that I have a lot of beef with, people that I despise, people that I can't stand, people who I blocked or whatever. But I will readily admit, with no hesitation whatsoever, I have a shitload of respect for anybody who makes content, specifically political content, because look, saying what you think to a stranger is hard enough. Like, most people don't mention their political opinions at all,
right?
Or writing it on a post. Like, a lot of people want to keep their names, anonymous and everything. But in order to get in front of a camera and say a political opinion, especially a strongly held one in either direction, and then put it out there in the public, you're taking two risks. The first risk you're taking is that no one's going to give a fuck. No one's going to watch it. No one's going to care. And that's going to sting. And the second risk you're going to take is that people are going to disagree with you and yell at you and get mad. Either way, you're going to, suffer those slings and arrows. So I applaud anybody who goes out there, no matter how terrible their opinions are. But that being said, I have so much more respect for any woman who does it. I cannot believe that women go. I am stunned whenever I run across. So yeah, hats off to all the female. You mentioning that where you said, oh yeah, they raise people. That's like, oh yeah, she must get the shit all the time. You must get the shit all the fucking time.
It's fine. I'm like, oh, badge. Okay, got it. Clocked it. Moving on. Yeah. So I'm glad it wasn't, but no, I appreciate that, DJ. Thank you. Right back at you. It's hard. It's hard doing this stuff and being in these spaces, and you try to separate what you're doing from your, the rest of your existence, but sometimes it just creeps in, you know?
Yeah,
It's
and to be
time
fair,
to-
now we have had some weird ass comments. We haven't we haven't read a lot.
The comments
This-
today are the most unhinged I've seen in a long time.
Did you
People
block that
are
one
not
person, John?
okay.
I blocked the anti-Semitic guy. Yeah, that's like
Holy
one. If you're
shit.
just like straight anti-Semitic, I will block you. I gotta address Funksy here because Funksy says Sydney Sweeney should have been the Helen of Troy instead of Lupita Nyong'o. She is stunning. He actually said Lupita Nyong'o is not an attractive person to play a woman who launched 1,000 ships. Funksy, I gotta ask you a legitimate question here. Are you like 12? Like, are you a 12-year-old boy? Because like that's the only straight person who would think that Sydney Sweeney is more attractive than Lupita Nyong'o. Like, I
Listen,
encourage you
hey.
to develop your taste a little
We're
bit
not-
more. I'll
we're not-
excuse the
we're not-
racism.
We're
You
not
lost me
coming
at that.
at we're not coming at either woman, okay? Like they're both hot as fuck, and you're never gonna get with either of them. So it's a moot point. Funky.
You're
It's
never
a
gonna
moot
get
point.
with either of them. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Also, real inspired choice, Sydney Sweeney. Are you kidding me? Like, I've been watching TV for 30 minutes, and so yeah, Sydney Sweeney is gonna be my choice for Helen of Troy. Yeah, it's so fucking lazy, but I don't know. I hope you guys like the movie. I really do, because I wished I liked it more, but on a technical level and on a cinematic level, I can't complain. Like the sound and the visuals are incredible. You won't be disappointed in that. I will say that.
I don't have high hopes for it, honestly. Like, I'm
I don't
very
have-
middle of the road.
Oh!
with Christopher Nolan. So we'll see
Have-
how I feel.
Have you seen any images of Agamemnon from this movie?
No, I really haven't
Oh.
looked at much of it.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. Every scene with Agamemnon in it, I'm for it. Like, this is what Agamemnon looks like in this movie. Okay. I was gonna play a clip, but I'll let you watch the movie yourself. But Agamemnon is rocking this fit, man. Like this, like
Diva.
Holy shit, he has got that shit on, man. Like every scene with Agamemnon, I'm like, whoa, holy fuck. And listen, he like, once again, this is not the Iliad. He's not a major character in the show. There's all flashbacks really to the Iliad and everything like that. But that outfit he is rocking is fucking incredible. So yeah, my boy Agamemnon, I actually saw a great post on this where someone said, I really wish that Agamemnon had more of a Agamemnon was so cool. I wish that he had more of a presence in this movie. I wish he was a bigger part of the story. And then someone commented, buddy, do I have a book for you? If you
Wait until.
yeah, just that's so good. All right, speaking of badasses, okay, Pete Hegseth. All right, Pete Hegseth. I wanted to talk about that with the military stuff, but we couldn't help the great transition to the Odyssey. Natalie, have you heard about his new testosterone plan that he has for I assume you have. I
have heard about it. I've done some videos on it. I've interviewed professionals about this whole situation in the trans community. I have done a lot of extensive anecdotal research on this whole situation with Hegseth, who suddenly loves gender affirming care, which I think is great personally. I'm glad that he's come over to the other side on this. It's wonderful.
TJ, what are your thoughts on Natalie's comment about gender affirming care?
Okay, all right. So last week, all right. So the reason John asked that question, Natalie, is because last week I was just saying that I don't use the gender affirming care burn when it comes to, because like there's a lot of burns that we use with slogan.
It's a statement of fact. It's
I know, but
fact. It's not a burn. That's what's so
it's not,
it's like they've used it that way because they're ill-educated and ignorant assholes. Gender affirming care is just using medicine to affirm your gender. That's all it is.
I'm aware. Look, it's correct. It's not an incorrect statement. But see, here's the way I see it. The example that I use is kind of how when people on the left will criticize people on the right and say, you claim you're pro-life, but you support the death penalty, which... All right, but when they say they're pro-life, that's not what they mean. Like they don't see it as a burn. They're like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. The same way, if someone on the right criticizes someone on the left and say you're pro-choice, but you support vaccine mandates. Well, that's not what I mean by pro-choice. When they say gender affirming care, they don't mean gender affirming care for your gender assigned at birth. That is not what they mean. It's kind of like, I don't know, like if I were to say that, oh, actually, this is I can't believe conservatives haven't used this. This is like right there. This I'm shocked that I don't want to give them any ideas, but I'm waiting for a conservative to come out there and make a whole video and say black people are apes and just like rail right into it. And then when they get called on, it says, well, listen, taxonomically, all humans are apes, right? Well, that's correct. What are you talking about? You're saying black people? Are you saying that they're not human? It's so easy. I'm shocked they haven't tried this yet. And so words have definitions, but they also have usages. And I'm more interested in listen, this is real nerd shit, I know.
No, but I don't. I'm going to push back on this, though, because I still don't agree with that. I think where you're falling into this trap is you're letting them set the framework. Why? It's the same thing with the whole, pro-choice, pro-life thing. I don't even use the term pro-life anymore because you're right. It's been co-opted in such a way but that's not what it is. We're talking about pro-choice or anti-choice. This just is gender affirming care. That's just what it is. They've politicized that term, but that's too bad for them. That's still what it is. And also, when you reiterate what it is, it pisses them off. And can't I have that, TJ? Can't I just that?
Of course. I would not begrudge anyone of that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. All right, John.
So Natalie, I think my argument was, I do think it'll never convince the person you're arguing with, but I do think it makes people think who are watching the argument about what gender affirming care actually is, and makes them think about their gender in ways they might not have otherwise. That was my argument for why I like the burn. But that argument of it pisses them off might be the one that's just like, we're right about this, because it does piss them the fuck off.
It does.
And when you piss off your opponent in a debate,
a lot of angry men from that video.
You're winning when they get pissed off. So I do have to say, the burn, as long as they're getting pissed off about it, it must be effective.
No, but what I found really concerning, though, having said all of that, is I have talked to like medical professionals around this whole testosterone deficiency thing. And what people don't understand is there's this idea, yes, of course, men have more testosterone than women, but this idea that you just want more and more and more of something, you end up with men can end up with breasts from using too much testosterone. Like, I think there's this idea that testosterone is the be all end all when it actually has to do with like a balance of hormones. And so for Pete Hegseth to say this incredibly, stupid one-dimensional way of looking at men's health, so to speak, or what men might need at a certain point in their lives, it was just all the way back to what we were talking about earlier. It just goes right back to this manosphere nonsense. Like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And when you look at it from a public health perspective, and I know that's boring, nobody wants to actually talk to the experts in the room on these subjects, but it's like they're all just sort of shaking their heads going, what is he talking about? Like, this isn't a thing that's done. And if it is done, there's been like clinical reasons for it that your doctor would know about. So it was just sort of a weird thing. They are all just so obsessed with testosterone. It's like, are you okay? Like, it's very strange to me. Very, very strange to me. Yeah, and I agree, KM, you're right. It's like the same thing with steroids. It can like shrink your gonads and stuff. Like, it's just the things that make you guys look a certain way can actually have a reverse impact on your like ability to get it up. Like, it's just wild. It's just wild.
It is. It really is like one of those dumb people's thought about what a smart person would do. And it's like, oh, like, men need testosterone. Testosterone is what makes us strong. It makes me go grrr when I think of testosterone, and that must be good for men then. And it's like, sometimes that is the case. There are many men that do need testosterone for various reasons. It's generally good for you as a man to be able to produce testosterone. Like, these are all good things, but they take the dumbest possible version of it. I think, TJ, you said this the other day when we were talking about, like, testosterone levels vary significantly from man to man. A man with unhealthy testosterone levels that are too low for him might very well have higher testosterone levels than I do. It's just, it depends on how it functions in your body. So this baseline standard of testosterone that needs to be met in the military. It's everything. It's like it's what conservatives fucking have railed against. Of like, oh, these like baseline standard and everything. Like, just let the people who have the aptitude for the job take the fucking job. I don't know why I need to repeat conservative talking points back to them multiple times a day, but like they just forget about them because testosterone good, women bad. Like that's the entire fucking mindset.
Well, can I just add this, TJ? I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Did you see what Jesse Waters, and maybe you guys already talked about this? Said on Fox News, where he was basically like, all these, our soldiers are all going to be jacked up on testosterone, and ladies, you better watch out, and when we're over in Asia, and he brought up like other cultures of women, you better watch out, basically implying that the soldiers are going to have so much testosterone in them that they're going to sexually assault other women, like the women on the base and women that they might meet in other parts of the world. And to me, that was just like such an unhinged, crazy thing to say. And yet, once again, nothing happened to Jesse Waters for saying that on faux news or whatever. But it was just fascinating to me that was where that's where that jump went to next.
It's accurate. Like Jesse Waters ain't right very often. He was kind of historically correct about that one.
But to say that about our soldiers basically becoming rape machines, it was basically what it was implying, was insulting.
Testosterone raises your it raises your aggression, if it does that. It doesn't make you a rapist, though. I mean, it's like that you're either a rapist or you're not. You can if you're not a rapist, all the testosterone in the world won't turn you into one. And Jesse Waters has been fascinating to me. So I've been watching Jesse Waters for 20 years now. Ever since I remember when Jesse Waters and I are roughly the same age. And I remember when he was like a college student on Fox News and he was an intern for Bill O'Reilly. And Bill O'Reilly would send him on those man in the street interviews, whatever. The most famous one he did is when he went into Chinatown in New York and basically started trying to find people who couldn't speak English or couldn't speak English very well and ask them super complex questions really fast to embarrass them, because that Fox News loves shit like that. But Jesse Waters is like a true nihilist. Jesse Waters. Mm-hmm. I have never seen anyone Jesse Waters knows exactly what he is doing, and he's like Tucker Carlson or Ben Shapiro. Like, they're evil, but they have principles. It's like in The Big Lebowski. Say what you want about National Socialists, but at least it's an ethos or whatever. That's what Jesse Waters and Tucker Carlson are like. I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson like. Jesse Waters knows he wants to say the most absurd, the most shocking thing possible, and get paid for it. And he jokes about it. So he's always looking for ways to push the envelope, and he's like, yeah, Jesse, what are you doing, man? Like, how do you sleep at night? I don't want to. He even he puts he'll play voicemails from his mom. Like, his mom would be like, Jesse, I wish you wouldn't do stuff like that. This is really bad. He just has no principles, no morals whatsoever. And speaking of testosterone and having no principles and no morals whatsoever, we only have a few minutes left here.
Good segue.
Yeah. I wanted to get Natalie's thought here on maybe the most masculine man in the Western Hemisphere, Mr. Andrew Tate. He's been arrested. Yeah, Andrew and Tristan Tate were both arrested in Miami. The story behind this is fascinating. They've been in and out of jail for, I feel like, a couple of years now. And they've been hiding out in Romania because they've got these charges in Britain, and they don't want to be extradited from the United States. And they moved to Romania specifically because the sexual assault laws are a lot more lax in Eastern Europe. And
that's why Erica Kirk was there too.
Erica Kirk. Oh yeah, that's right. So they got ballsy and they flew into Miami and they were arrested immediately. And I mean, this looks pretty bad for them. All the charges they have, and they thought the Trump family would save them. I saw an interview, and Andrew Tate said, well, listen, we're really close with the Trump family. The Trump family bailed them out earlier. They thought maybe that Trump would stop it, and they talked to Marco Rubio, the news. Marco Rubio says, yeah, I'm not aware of anything to help them out. They're going to be extradited back to Britain. So it looks like they might serve some actual jail time. Natalie, before you comment on your thoughts on this, can we get at least a review on the masculine outfit that Andrew Tate is wearing right there? Like when John was mentioning how you get so focused on like maleness and testosterone and masculinity,
Yeah.
it kind of makes you gay. Like, yeah, like it's just not. It's just like you
gay.
end up. Yeah, you end up being really gay coded, and I think Andrew Tate has fallen in that area. What are your thoughts on Andrew Tate? I heard you wish him well, Natalie. What do you think?
I wish him nothing. I loved his Chico's special, the outfit that he got arrested in. I thought he looked so fabulous, so cute. I loved a little slutty ankle. That was amazing. It was like so beautiful the way it went down, and just to see him finally perhaps see a little justice. I actually interviewed Eric Fudali earlier on my show Facts Over Fear today, and Eric is one of the he's a lawyer for several of the Epstein survivors. And we talked about like what this means really when you start to see this house of cards in a way crumbling just a little bit, right? I mean, we know that this isn't attached to Trump and the Epstein files, but the fact that it's sort of adjacent, this idea that a trafficker might actually end up, facing real consequences for his actions in a real way. And from what Fudali told me, the charges that him and his brother are facing are egregious and serious, and there's a lot of them. And so, and they involve minors and really horrific crimes against women. And so there is a chance here that we might see some justice. And I hope that the boys that are really attached to the manosphere are reflecting in some capacity on the fact that their god, Andrew Tate, just got arrested for these horrible, horrible crimes. And maybe it could shake a few of them awake, or at least out of this brainwashing that they are experiencing around the level of hatred that they have. I don't even think it's towards women, it's towards the feminine. And like, the reality is, TJ, to what you're saying, the feminine and the masculine exist in all of us, right? There is a balance of energies that exist in everyone. And when you so go out of balance, you almost end up in some perverted way. It shows up in other ways. And it shows up in the ways in which Andrew Tate is moving in the world and in the way he dresses. And it's like, you can't repress those aspects of yourself, because they will rear their head, but in a very twisted way. And so I was reading that he's in solitary, that he's very upset, that he is crying out, for help and support, and he's not receiving it. And may he receive the same level of compassion and empathy that he has bestowed upon the victims. That's all I will say on him.
It is. Andrew Tate is a fucking monster and deserves every piece of hell on earth that he has left in his time here. However, of monsters, when I see him, I feel sad primarily. Like, it's not like I don't like Jesse Walters. Jesse Walters is also a monster. Not the same kind of monster, but also a monster. And when I see Jesse Walters, I'm like, fuck this guy. He could do anything, and he's choosing to do this. And that pisses me with glee, and that pisses me off. When I see Andrew Tate, I see a disturbed motherfucking individual. Like something is broken in him. And it makes me sad, because I also see so many particularly young boys relating to that, but not having the understanding or vocabulary to understand why, and copying all of his mistakes. And it's just a very sad situation all the way around, least of which are all the victims of his numerous sexual crimes that we probably don't even fucking know about. Glad they got him. Glad they fucking got him. And glad that I won't have to fucking hear from him anymore, because my God, he is so annoying. Like, he's
so annoying.
He's so annoying because it doesn't even make fucking sense. Like, I feel like he has even got lost in his own Kool-Aid, because he used to like be a Jordan Peterson kind of guy where he would say 15% good advice and then be batshit crazy the rest of the time. And he's even lost the 15% at this point. He's just fucking batshit insane. And going to Miami, being dumb enough to go to Miami,
can't believe they did that. I cannot believe they did that. That was the most surprising.
I can.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't surprised at all. No, because I
Oh,
think they bought into the narrative that Trump would protect them because everybody thinks that Trump is going to protect them. And if you look at the track record, Giuliani, Dr. Phil, all these people that attach themselves to the pillow guy, right? Like all of these people,
pillow guy.
they're
Yeah.
all fucked now. And I think it's really interesting that the cult of personality around Trump is so strong that these psychopaths that have committed horrific crimes against women and children thought that, yeah, it's Trump's America. That's the level of arrogance that we're witnessing. I was not surprised at all. I was going to ask you that question, TJ, though. Were you surprised that Trump, through Karen Levitt, was saying that, no, we're not going to help these two out?
Yeah. I mean, because they did before, right? And the only thing I think is maybe he didn't get paid. Because like Trump has a long history of like helping. Like this is once again why it's difficult to argue with conservatives anymore, because they've abandoned even the principles that they said that they've had all this time. All that matters is it cool for Trump? Then I'm all for it. Like Trump has like dozens of people who have paid him a ton of money and now they've been pardoned. They've all committed fraud. They've all been convicted on a federal level across several years. What I haven't even talked about this, but you guys, I'm sure, have seen the news story that Trump's Truth Social is offering banks a $100,000 a month package that they pay to Truth Social to get Trump's truths sent to them like a few seconds before anybody else. There is literally no reason that banks would pay, was that $1.2 million a year for that access, unless it was for insider trading. It is obvious corruption. There is no defense against this, and Republicans are not going to care. And the deep state has gotten to Natalie. Your screen went black right there. I said it's over.
I don't know
It's
what
over.
happened.
They finally got to her, but no, yeah. Oh, Mark is back. Mark says TJ confusing Trump supporters with conservatives yet again. Okay, look. Trump has like a 95% approval rating of all Republicans and always has, Mark. I'm so sick and tired of like these Lincoln Project, Bill Kristol style Republicans, like the 1 or 2% of conservatives that's like, I don't support Trump anymore because of all these other reasons. What they'll tell you is, well, I don't agree with Trump doing X, Y, and Z, but I'm still gonna vote for him. Come on, Mark, you know I don't want to hear that stuff.
The Democratic Party is objectively more conservative and talking like fiscally conservative than the Republican Party is.
Period.
Right? Like it's not even fucking close. They're asking for another $500 billion for a fucking Pentagon. Like this is not the fiscally conservative Republican Party. They are gone. So if you're going to argue that the Republican Party is no longer conservative, fine. I can talk to you about that all day long. If you're going to argue like we're confusing conservative, as long as we're saying conservatives are the Republicans, Republicans are Trump supporters. They're the same fucking thing. There is no distinction there. There's no one in the Republican Party who is consistently standing up to Trump and saying, fuck this guy, he's wrong about this. And the very few that do get removed from the party. Thomas Mack, right there. Like you can't be a Republican and claim, but I'm not a Trump supporter anymore. You have to leave the fucking party at this point because the party is the party of Trump. If you're not going to leave the party, I'm sorry. You can say you're not a Trump supporter all you fucking want, but like that's the fucking house that you've decided to stay in.
Yeah. And I know we're like wrapping up, but I always find it funny because when you look back, it's just like, this guy, this is your guy, like you're all going to just let this all burn for him. Like, it's fascinating to me who ends up becoming these people's sort of,
I have a question to ask you.
Oh,
can you hear? Okay.
This is
We're about
happening
to end the
in
show.
real time.
Okay. So, all right. I mentioned how I was always right. And they said, hey, we want to ask your girlfriend about that. So I'm asking you, am I always right?
What? No.
Oh,
Thank you.
You would say yes.
The
You always
truth
complain
sets
about
you
how I'm
free,
right all the time.
TJ.
Well, he's usually right.
Okay, there we go. Okay,
No, she's been told.
No. If she was told she would.
Were right.
No, if she was told, she wouldn't have answered
You're
that
the
first one.
brains behind the operation here. It's okay.
Oh my
It's okay.
God! All right.
That's the truth.
Oh Jesus.
you.
Okay.
We know, we
I
know.
scrambled to go. I was so confident you were gonna say, "Oh yeah, he is always right."
I knew I liked
He is
her.
right with annoying frequency.
There we go. All right. See, there we go.
Yeah, like, because I'll fact check him all the time. He makes these outrageous claims, and I'll be like, there's no way that, I don't know,
You know what?
that Iran is a huge country. And then he'll, like, Google the population, and I'll be like,
93 million people. Actually, I am surprised about
"Pretty
one.
sure." Look it up, and yep, he's right.
I was telling her the other day that Grindr and Tinder are. Grindr actually came first. Did you guys know that? Tinder came like 3 years
Pun
after Grindr.
intended?
But no, it's like, yeah, it came, no, really. It came, pun intended. That's good. Like Kane.
Oh,
So, oh, you got a comment here. You got a Mark says TJ's girlfriend backing down under pressure. Speak truth to power. Mark, you should have said
Blame
speak
twice.
truth to. You should have said speak truth to power is taken not given. That would have been a good way to go.
Oh,
But
there's
all
your
right,
chance.
let's
There's your
go.
I'm Natalie, by the way.
I know.
Okay, all right,
Nice
all
to
right.
meet you.
We wrapping this stuff up or what, folks? All right, let's
Yeah.
We're wrapping it up. I absolutely love that TJ was wrong about his girlfriend saying that he's always
No,
right. That's
I
classic.
don't call that. Did I not
Classic.
call that? Thank you.
I was so sure she'd say yes because she doesn't complain about it. Well, Colby says TJ was on Grindr 3 years before he got on Tinder. That's good. That's good.
We're testing waters here. We're testing waters.
That's really good. All right. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts, Natalie? We'll go to you first before we take off here.
No, I'm so glad to be back with you guys. This was so much fun. Thanks for letting me come and just, stir some shit up. That was a really good time. I love being with you guys. Even if
John.
you're never right, but that's okay, TJ.
Of course, and Natalie, thanks for being back. Good to have a guest episode of The Left Wing again. Again, we should do this more often.
We do deal with these, yeah.
But yes, definitely, if you liked our Odyssey conversation, stay tuned. Next week or maybe the next week after, we'll do an Odyssey movie review, full-fledged. And Natalie, I know that you're setting me up on your Substack Live. So once I'm on there, where can our fans go to see that?
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of original interviews, news, and analysis on my Substack called Facts Over Fear. So go to Facts Over Fear, Natalie B. And TJ, I got to have you on too.
Love to. One quick question before we leave. Mark says, okay, are you guys on Tuesday? Mark, we do TikTok lives on Tuesday instead of YouTube now. So you guys can check us out there on both our TikTok accounts. And thank you guys for joining us. Today's episode is brought to you by Agamemnon Outfitters. We recommend you go shop at Agamemnon Outfitters if you want to rock that shit. Your ladies will love it. The fellas will love it. You'll have a good time. Catch you guys later. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
All right.